The cell function in Excel is an awesome function that will return information about a cell. And it has two arguments. The first one is in information they're looking to return. The second one is reference to the cell. So first equals cell, open parentheses. And as you can see, you can return information such as the address, the column number, the color, contents, file name, format, parentheses, prefix, whether the cell is protected or not, the row, type, as well as the width. So let's just say, for example, we want to return the address of the cell. Now, one thing that we're going to notice that it's different than this function versus other functions after we press tab is that normally when there's a function that has a list of different items to select from, there's a corresponding number. However, in the cell function, there is the word address in quotation marks, which is something just to note, and then comma. Let's just say we wanted to get the address of the word settlement. Close parentheses, enter. As you can see, it defaults to giving an absolute reference of the address, but as you can see, the address is B5. Just so we wanted more information about the cell. Different information, such as the column number. And then comma, the same cell. You can see it is the second column, which is B. Now, let's say we want some information about the format of the cell. So, we're going to see here is a little bit unique. We're looking for the format. It gives us the letter G, which might seem kind of odd at first, but going to the official documentation for the cell function in Microsoft Excel, as you can see, for some different piece of information that might return, there's a corresponding letter or code to each format. So as you can see, G represents the general format, F0 represents 0, so on and so forth. This fancy thing is C2 minus. As you can see, just so on and so forth. D5, month, day, day, which is something that's important to note. So if you see format, if you're using the format argument, but it's returning something that might seem kind of weird at first, note there's this corresponding table. Link is going to be in the description. So let's run through some of the other arguments, as some of them might not necessarily be what we may initially expect. So for example, as you can see, the third option that you can have is color. Now, one thing about the color is that it returns one of two things. One, if there is it returns a 1 if there is a format, if color is shown for negative value, but it returns a 0 if there's not a color specifically shown for negative value. So as you can see, you can change this to be green, and this doesn't change. That's because this green is not formatted specifically for negative value. Now, the next potential argument is contents, and that returns the top leftmost value of the range you're referencing. So here you're only referencing one cell, so it's settlement. But let's just say you want to reference this group right here. As you can see, settlement is in the top the top left value of this reference. The next one, file name, will actually return the address of the file that the cell is referencing to, which is very useful if you're looking to find the if you have different workbooks that are linked and you're trying to figure out what's the address of a file that where a portion of the workbook is linked to another workbook. So that's very useful. I'm not going to hit enter because I don't want to show the file path. I already showed format. Now parentheses. So parentheses just returns if it is formatted with parentheses or not. So there's a 1 that's returned if the cell is formatted with parentheses, and a 0 if it's not. So the next argument, prefix, just basically returns a key based on the it returns a key based on how the cell is formatted. So as you can and how it is aligned. So as you can see, if we change it to be left aligned, we rerun the formula, the value returned for prefix changes. If it is right aligned, so home, right aligned, enter, and you rerun the formula, you can see the value for the symbol changes for the prefix as well. And then we're going to go to Alt-H-A-C and rerun this to get back to what we originally had. And as you can see, similar to the format argument, it's a little bit, there's a key that's returned for each formatting. So the next argument is protect. And that basically just returns a 1 if the cell is locked and a 0 if the cell is not locked. The next one is the type, which can give you some sort of indication of the type data that's in the cell. So as you can see, it returns a 1 if there is text in a cell. It returns a V if there is a value in a cell. And as you can see, it turns a B if it's blank. So as you can see, now it's referencing to B4, it's blank. Returns an L or 1 if there is text in a cell, and if there's anything other than text, it returns a V for value. The last argument, potential argument, is the width. It returns the width of the cell. So basically, doing width is unique because it gives you two pieces of information. The first is the width right here, which is 18, and true or false right in the second column, where true corresponds to the value, to if the value is being default, and it returns false if the width has been changed to be not the default. So Alt-H-O-W 20, and we're going to rerun this. As you can see, the width changes to 20, but it's not the default. Go over here, and as you can see, now this is referencing to J5, and because this is default, it returns true. As I hope you found this tutorial to be helpful. If you did, please like. Also subscribe. I post every 3 days, so you don't want to miss out on awesome Excel tutorials. So please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.